coffee early in the morning. Welcome to the Brandon Harmonti channel, where new and exciting things happen every day. That's my new channel slogan. How gay, right? How gay. Anyway, I'm going to get into a story today because I'm uploading just about every day now, and I feel pretty confident. It's not hard to make these quick videos. Like, what am I going to do? Vlog every day? Like, I vlogged myself at the courthouse. I can't do that every day. I don't have any friends, so what am I going to do? Vlog myself? Doing nothing? So, this story is going to be called I Was in a House That Got Robbed at Gunpoint. One of the craziest things to happen in my younger years, but the worst part about the story, and I'm just going to start it off with this, I was on acid for the first time when this happened, which, as we all know, is you're not supposed to do that. They typically advise that when you do psychedelic substances, that you have a sitter, that you're in a, you don't end up in a nego prison, negative headspace. You're supposed to essentially take it and walk around in like a field or two and find yourself, whatever that means. But that's not what happened. Instead, I was in a house that got robbed at gunpoint. So the day started, I was about 17-year-old young lad, and one of my friends was getting really into psychedelics at this time. Everybody was constantly taking triple C's. I don't know if you remember those. Those were horrible to take, but we were taking them like every week. But my friend found this kid who was like a rich kid who had his own apartment. And he just let all the lost souls of my town just party all day in this apartment. Luckily, me and my girlfriend didn't hang out there that much because it was too sketchy. Like, we would go there every once in a while, but like, you would look down the hallway and you would see like kids walking across the hallway naked with like needles in their hands, and the kid that was rich that owned the apartment just played what is that, Age of Empires all day, and just let everybody wreck his house and drink and have sex and party behind him. So I didn't really like being there that much, but my friend said, hey, let's go by Ryan's house. There's a guy that sells acid. And we were like, me and my girlfriend were like, yeah, let's do it. And my friend had just started dating this black girl. And the four of us, became really kind of close. Like, we were always going on like double dates and stuff. So we all partook for the first time, at least for me, taking this acid. So I think my friend's instructions were to drive up to like a CVS and wait for this guy to just show up. And I remember the guy showed up and he had dreadlocks. He was white, but he had dreadlocks. And he had a guitar case, and he opened it up, this little section of his guitar case in the, and he had just thousands of hits of, what is it called? A window pane? I don't even think it had a stamp on it. It didn't have like a, what do you see on acid? Like a little picture of Scooby-Doo. Didn't have any of that. It was just white paper. So we were like, all right, let's partake. And of course, I'm young and stupid. I'm not really a big fan of psychedelics. I'm constantly reading about people who are like, oh, I opened up my mind and I saw the light or whatever. I never saw that. I just got really depressed and realized how insane I am every time I took a psychedelic. And a week prior to this, me and my girlfriend, who had just met, ate a bunch of mushrooms. And my trip was so bad that I couldn't even talk for like 4 hours. So I ruined everybody else's trip. We all just sat in the car, and my sister and my girlfriend were like, Brandon, why can't you talk? Say something. And I would go, I was like that kid from that movie The Wizard in the 80s where they played the video game tournaments. Like, the kid could only say California. That's all. I couldn't even say California. I just couldn't talk. like I started to realize the more I took psychedelics, the more I realized how much of a lunatic I was and how much baggage I had stored deep down in the skeletal closet of my subconscious. So, anyways, we meet this dreadlock guy. He gives it to us. We put it under our tongue. We're ready to skip on into the sunset and have a life changing experience. Turn up your mind, relax, and float downstream. It is not dying. It is not dying. That didn't happen. What we ended up doing was just walking around town, and I was paranoid of cops back in this time because what I remember from being like 17 was within like 3 months of getting my license, was getting pulled over constantly and searched, and cops and weed and drug dogs. I'm not saying I was like a bad drug dealer guy, but it was constantly like seriously every time I get pulled over, they get the so I'm constantly paranoid at this young age. And perhaps I shouldn't have been messing with psychedelics because I'm pretty sure I have a mental disorder. So, me, my girlfriend, my big, skinny, strung out friend, and his black girlfriend were all just walking around, and we were getting kind of sick of walking around towns and seeing businesses. Like, that's a buzzkill. So, we sort of wandered into this field that we were pretty sure was private property, but it was like this big apple orchard field in the outskirts of the town we lived in. And we're just kind of enjoying the breeze, and everybody's taking pictures of themselves, and me and my girlfriend are talking like we don't even know each other yet, so now we're tripping together. And we were just kind of sitting around smoking cigarettes. I think one of us had a guitar. All of a sudden, this like old man Rivers type farmer guy, I guess that owned the orchard, kind of walked up to us on the field, and he was like, "What are y'all doing here? Get off my property." And we were just like young libertarian wannabe hippies, like, "Oh, I don't believe in that. I don't believe in private property. Like, let us. What are we? We're not hurting anybody." But of course, he had every right to kick us out. But that kind of like stomped on our trip a little. We were like, "Come on, we can't even hang out on some old farmer's private property. Like, seriously?" And at this point, the waves of like seeing like looking at a wall and seeing the little stringy things and going in and out of cars like if you know if you take any psychedelic, when you get out of a car the world just rushes you like, so me and my girlfriend ended up going into the park, and we separated from my friend and his girlfriend, and we went into a disgusting stinky porta potty, and we just started like kissing or something, but we were both so afraid to leave the porta potty that we stayed in there for like 45 minutes. And eventually we looked at each other and we were like, "All right, dude, we can't stay in this porta potty forever. What are we going to do?" And we started hearing noises outside of the porta potty that we thought were hallucinations. But when we finally emerged from the porta potty, there were all of a sudden hundreds, I'm talking hundreds of people at the park. And there were big signs, and they all had dogs. They had like groomed poodles and golden retrievers. It was a dog show that set up outside. Like, we must have been in there for 2 hours, because how do you set up an entire dog show, like, unbeknownst to us? And this is tripping us out. Like, we're looking at the dogs are looking at us. We're making everybody uncomfortable. Our pupils are like this big. So we're like, dude, we need to get as far away from this dog show as possible. So we eventually went back to the rich kid's apartment where all the lost souls of the town would hang out. So we drive from one small town to the other, and we know we got to go back into this apartment. That's like the house of the rising sun for lost souls of the town. So me and my girlfriend like walk up to the door. We knock. We hear a lot of commotion going on inside. Finally, somebody opens the door, and they're tying off their arm with a belt. And mind you, I wasn't into that stuff yet. Yet. That's the sad part. Yet. And we walk in, and I immediately see my friend and his black girlfriend just sitting there. And they look like they're having a grand old time. And me and my girlfriend were surrounded by all these people, and we're like looking at each other. And everybody that was coming up to us and saying, "Hey, how's the trip going?" And I'm just like, "Oh, good, yeah, go, get out of here, go. I don't want to talk, get away." And we sit down, and it's me, my girlfriend, my friend, his girlfriend. And of course, the rich kid is still playing Age of Empires all day. That's all he did, while everybody partied and just wrecked his house. And the funny thing is, besides the four of us, me and my friend and our girlfriends, everyone in this story is dead. They have all overdosed, one by one. And I'm not joking you. The opiate epidemic hit my small town so hard that like 50 kids died. Like 50! I swear I lost count at like 30 at one point. They're all dead. The rich kid, everybody that hung out at this house is now dead. So we're sitting there and we're just like talking about stuff and trying to ignore all the loud noise going on around us. But one pivotal part of this story is you got to remember that this rich kid just let everybody stay at his apartment. So the whole night there was like this really big black dude just sitting on the couch texting. Like nobody really knew who he was, but he would occasionally chime in and like make jokes. He was a really solid, cool dude. And he would call weed, he would call it smoke. He would go, "Hey man, you got any more of that smoke?" I thought that was weird. I never heard anybody call it that, by the way. And the trip starts getting really intense. And me and my friend's girlfriend are staring at each other talking. And all of a sudden, we start having this like telekinesis. It was so weird where we were looking at each other and we would go, "Oh, oh, it happened there." Like something would happen and we would laugh and we would point at each other and we would go, "Oh, that." And then we would both talk at the same time. "Oh, that was weird. Oh my God." It was so bizarre. Meanwhile, my girlfriend is getting jealous that me and my friend's girlfriend are having this telekinesis bonding all of a sudden. And mind you, there's a bunch of kids just kind of roaming around the apartment. Some are drinking. You could hear people banging in other back rooms. But there was this kid there at the time. His name was Adam. And he reminded me, if you've ever seen that movie, Another Day in Paradise, which you probably haven't seen. It's like a James Woods movie. The guy that plays Pete from Mad Men is in that movie. This kid, Adam, looked and acted exactly like the kid from Another Day in Paradise, the movie. And I always thought this kid was kind of cool. Like, a year down the road, he taught me and my girlfriend how to pull this movie scam where you would walk into a grocery store and he pointed out that all the movies had the same code on them in the back. So if you stole them, you could sell them at GameStop or whatever for money, and it was untraceable. And years later, even after I got clean, I saw him at the grocery store looking at DVDs. Just, I'm like, oh, he's doing the scam, the movie scam. Well, anyways, this kid was selling his script at the time of, I think 30s. So everybody, I think that's why there was so much needle use going, because I don't think the H epidemic had hit as hard at this time. But everybody knew that this kid Adam sold his 30s. So we're just sitting down and the trip is intensifying. This big black guy is in the corner just texting the whole night. But he's cool. He's friends with the kid who owned the apartment. And all of a sudden, a knock came at the door. And of course, we're not really paying any mind to it because we're tripping and we don't care. People are constantly going in and out of this apartment. So the kid Adam walks up to the door, and I kind of see him out of the corner of my eye. Mind you, I'm still sitting on the couch trying to avoid people at all costs. And all of a sudden, the kid Adam opens the door, and all I hear is the sound of, it sounded like this. And I saw Adam tumble to the floor with this big gash on his forehead. And all you hear, I look over to the right of me, and there are like two guys with ski masks and a shotgun. And all you hear is, "Everybody get on the ground! Give us all your 30s!" They were robbing this house for the 30s that this kid Adam specifically had. Mind you, Adam opened the door. Like, what are the odds that he opened the door? But the funny thing is, a couple kids started laughing. Like, nobody knew if this was serious. Like, is this a joke? And also, a lot of the people couldn't hear it. And I'm sitting on the couch right next to the door. I just saw this kid Adam hit the ground with a gash on his forehead. And all of a sudden, I see this kid Adam get up, and he put his hands up, and he went, "All right, man, I got him in my back pocket. Let me just reach for him." And he reaches down, and remember, mind you, this kid is small. He's like my size. He reaches into his pocket, and then he goes, boom! And he just haymakers this guy with the shotgun. And all of a sudden, at this moment, everybody became aware. Holy crap, we are in a house that is being robbed at gunpoint. And finally, the kid who owned the apartment looked back from Age of Empires. He took a 2-second break from his game to finally realize he's in a house that's getting robbed. And everybody, all of a sudden you hear, "Ah!" And people are running to the back, and I'm just sitting there next to my girlfriend, and I think I like grabbed onto her or something, and I'm like, I didn't grab onto her to protect her. I'm pretty sure I grabbed onto her because I thought I would get sucked into the tripping oblivion of eternity. Like I was getting sucked into the stratosphere. And all this commotion broke out. And all of a sudden, this big black guy that's been sitting there the whole night, not talking, got up. And this guy is a beast. He was huge. He looked like he could have been like a linebacker. And he gets up and he, boom, punches one of the guys. And all of a sudden, there's this big scuffle between two guys in ski masks. And the shotgun got pulled away from him. And somebody ran and shut the door and locked it. Now, all of a sudden, everybody has scurried to the back. But me and my girlfriend are just kind of sitting at the sidelines because you don't get to see this sort of thing every day. And we were fascinated. And we were tripping. And basically, they were all scuffling and... I keep shaking the camera. They were scuffling and fighting. And eventually, the big black guy and this small Another Day in Paradise kid, Adam, got these robbers in the middle of the room. They got the shotgun out of their hands. And it was go time. And what I saw next, I seriously think it may have traumatized me because it was so brutal to watch. But all I remember is me and my girlfriend ran to the back of the apartment. But I remember going, I want to see this. It was kind of like that scene in Game of Thrones when Sansa and Arya are watching that tourney. And one of the guys gets killed, like a stick goes into his neck. And one of the girls is like, oh, and the other is like, oh, like I wanted to see it. And these guys were crying and praying please let me go. And what I saw next was this big black guy and this kid Adam beat the living piss. They beat these guys, these robbers, within an inch of their life. Like, I remember Adam was holding one of them in the middle of the floor, and the black guy was walking back with the shotgun cocked back and hitting him in the side of the head like a baseball bat, until eventually he just smashed the shotgun into pieces. And they were holding these guys down and just turning their face into jelly. And these guys are crying. And one regret I have of this story, yeah, it was bad for the robbers to like try to rob this house. But I wish I could have gone up to him and been like, dude, please let these guys go, man. Like, they have taken enough of a beating. Like, they were getting hit in the head with a shotgun, like a baseball bat, and there was blood. Their face was just blood. It was just blood. And eventually, one of the guys got up and ran for the door, and he got out. So I think these robbers had like a exit strategy, like a plan B, because all you hear next is and in my head, I didn't see it, but I heard it. I'm thinking somebody just got their head blown off with a shotgun. But what actually happened was the guy that ran out and kind of got away threw a brick through the window to, like, I guess to give his friend a chance to run, which is a pretty admirable thing to do in my opinion. So for the next 5 or 10 minutes, all you can hear is the sound of fists hitting faces. And this big black guy was like, he was taunting these guys. Like, he was like yelling, and they were having the most glorious moment of their life, where I think Adam and the black guy both realized we can murder these guys and get away with it because they robbed us. So I think that's exactly what they did. But at this point, we're like all huddled in the back, and I go to peek at it one more time, and my skinny friend who got us the acid just walked up to the guy on the floor. He's on his knees praying and begging to get let go. My friend just punches him in the face, and everybody starts laughing. And of course, I'm like, come on, dude. Like, this is going too far, dude. You're going to kill these guys. Fast forward 5 or 10 minutes. All I could hear now is the kid Adam going, call the cops. Get the cops here. And Ryan, the rich kid who owned the apartment, walked up to them and he went, you broke my window. And this guy is pleading, just please let me go, man. I'll never come back here again. Please, man, let me go. And eventually the cops came, and we all have to hide in this closet because everybody has drugs on them, and we're all drinking and we're underage. So we hear cops come in, and I think they take the guys away. And we're hiding, and my girlfriend had, women have weak bladders. Let's be real. She had to pee. She kept going, I gotta pee. And everybody's like, shh, shh, shh. Like, we're like Anne Franken it in this freaking closet. Eventually, my girlfriend grabs a boot and just squats onto it and starts pissing in the boot. And everybody's trying not to laugh. And the last thing I remember was one of the cops came into the room where our closet was that we were hiding in and called his wife. And I just remember him saying, honey, yeah, man, we're at a house that just got robbed, and they almost killed this guy twice. I think he said something like that. They almost killed him twice. And he was laughing. The cop was laughing, and we're hiding. I think I flushed somebody's weed, and they got really mad at me for doing that. And all of a sudden, the cops, I could hear them asking this kid, Adam, they're like, all right, man, something about this story doesn't add up. One, how did these guys know you had prescription painkillers? And I heard this kid Adam go, well, everybody knows I have back pain and blah, blah, blah. All of a sudden, these cops are just grilling this guy because they're like, they knew he was a drug dealer. And eventually, I think they took the guys away, and they probably did a very long time. That is armed robbery. I think that's a home invasion, which is very serious. Like, that is probably one of the worst crimes you can commit. And that was it. The next day, I sent my friend the news article, and he said, "Oh my God, I know this guy. He was in my shop class." And I wish I could find out what happened to the guys. I'm pretty sure they're probably still in prison, and I remember wishing that they would have gotten let go because they made a mistake. They did a bold thing, and I think getting the beating was punishment enough. Like, the fact that you have to go to jail with, like, a jelly face from getting hit in the face with a shotgun so many times, and then serve 20 years. I just wish I would have, I don't know. Something didn't sit well with me. So that's that story. I was in a house that got robbed at gunpoint while I was tripping for the very first time. Hope you enjoyed the story. I know this is a kind of short one. Subscribe, like, comment to this channel. I have tons of stories. I will never run out. Thanks for watching.